yeah, the Used were where it was at, man. Like, I wouldn't say they hit the right notes with every fucking release, but, you know, they're still a good band.
Yeah, no, they're awesome. They're awesome. Monica did an interview with Bert at Good Things.
Yeah, I met Bert as well.
Yeah, and she just sort of mentioned, like, remember her saying he was just an absolute legend and just the nicest guy. And
what other like members of big bands have you met, Tom?
Hollywood Undead. I met
Really?
pretty much every member from Hollywood Undead. Underoath, met all of the members of Underoath. The Almost.
Because I wanna ask Ben this next. So
yeah. And I've met random people like the Dudesons.
You met the Dudesons? Are you for real?
Yeah, at Soundwave Festival.
Sick, man.
Do you remember one year, Ben? At,
I didn't know we came out to Soundwave.
Yeah, the Dudesons were doing stunts on a small stage at Soundwave in between bands.
Wow. Yeah, actually, I do remember that.
That's cool. And I remember walking around the like. I was fucked off my head on ecstasy, and I just finished watching the Bloodhound Gang, and it was the best experience ever watching the fucking Bloodhound Gang on ecstasy, man. I think I dropped like 4 eckies as well, like it wasn't just one. Yeah, I saw him walking. I was like, "What's going on, man?" And he was gacked off his head too. I don't know on what, but he was fucked, man. And he put his arm around me. He's like, "Oh, what's going on?" And I was like, "How you going, man?" I'm like, "You having a fun time?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm having a fucking great time." And I was like, "Can I get a photo?" And he's like, "Yeah, of course, yeah." And then I got a photo, and he's like, "Anyway, I got to go back to the stage, bye," and just walked off. He was fucking off his head, but it was fucking funny as. So yeah, I've been a few big bands, and a few people from big bands, but like that's about the most notable ones, you know.
That's so cool.
Yeah, but what about you, Ben?
The guys from Slipknot.
Yep.
And yeah, they were all awesome. Like because we did a couple of shows with them, and it was Corey was just the nicest, absolute legend. Like can't speak highly enough. Like it was only. We had a good couple of conversations and hung out and stuff after a show, and he was awesome. So was Mick Thompson. Like it was just a really, really good environment. And
was Mick Thompson big in real life?
Yeah,
he's a big fucking guy, man.
Yeah, absolute legend. I don't know. I suppose it depends on what you would call a big band. Like John Petrucci from Dream Theater.
I could have gone and met Craig Mabbitt from Escape the Fate if I wanted, because he went to Oakland's studio in Nunawading where Bo McKee works and did some vocals on a band that in Australia, or an Australian band that know him, and got him to do guest vocals or something like that. I don't know. And Bo was like, had him in that studio that day, and I think he messaged me and was like, or I messaged him and he was like, "Yeah, I got Craig," or he posted something about it, and I lived like 10 minutes from there, and I was like, I could ask him to come in if I wanted to come in, but I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to just be like, "Oh, hey man, how you going? What's going on, motherfucker?"
Yeah. Hey, Craig Mabbitt, what's up? Like,
so yeah. But like, have you like, if you're hoping to get any good opportunities with your band to like do supports, like fucking like, what would be your ideal support? Like, what's your dream show, bro?
I'd love to play some shows with a band called Spirit Box. That would be, I reckon that would be high on the list.
Yep. I haven't heard of Spirit Box, to be honest.
Yeah, they're awesome. They're unreal. I couldn't even sort of describe it to you. It's sort of like a heavy. They got a female singer as well. She's amazing. She's really good.
Who's the one that comes up like? Who's the main ideas person in your band, you'd say, that comes up with like, all right, this is what we want from the music video? Is it all of you guys, or does it just one person have like a vision that you all just trust?
I think that there's the interesting answer to that question. I think it's mainly based around the vocals in terms of the lyrics. Like I find that so far has been a bit of a starting point, if that makes sense, and then the story around that. So when we went, because we went with Her Name Is Murder Productions for the video for Hindsight, and he did the video as well for Like a Ghost, and another track that we've done as well for Fear, a song called Fear. We were absolutely stoked with Dave from Her Name Is Murder. He's an absolute legend, and just, again, someone that knows his stuff back to front. So this time around, the I guess foundation of it came from the lyrics and the story behind the song. So when it all sort of came together, Monica sort of had, oh, look, this is the kind of idea of the song. What do we think of this and this? And we all had input. We all put our input in. And when we went on to chat with Dave, because we know he's like an extremely capable videographer and knows his stuff back to front, we gave him a fair bit of freedom and said, look, this is the song, these are the words, this is what it's about. He had to listen to it and said, cool, this is the concept that I've got for it to fit in with what you guys have told me and what we've discussed in your image, and this is what I think could really work well. And that's pretty much how it's kind of come together. And even for this video that we were going to shoot for our next track, it was a similar kind of thing. It was really based around the story of the song, but then the producer that we were using took a bit of artistic integrity and was like, oh, what about this? What if we do this? And this is where we go to it. It matches up with the song. What do you think in terms of storyboard and storyline? And we were like, yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. And we were going to go with that until we got stuck back in lockdown again.
Yeah, man, it must suck, man. Like, I mean, it's really hard for us just because we're just starting and we're like trying to build the band, and without being able to actually catch up and do like proper rehearsals and like get these songs down and stuff. It's been like slow fucking movement, but it's also really hard to also maintain like a high morale and a really excited look on it when you're really like stuck in limbo with it at the same time. But I've been trying to be that driving force for when the band doesn't seem like they're coping well. Like, as Ash, our vocalist, is dealing with at the moment, she said she's not dealing with lockdown very well at the moment, but I'm just trying to make her realize that the band is there as like, this is what is we're gonna have something really cool coming out of lockdown that we can, that we've already got the foundation for it, which is the hardest part, man, is getting that foundation together with the band. That's always the most tedious and slow going point in a band, in my opinion. So
yeah, no, I think as well, like for me personally, like last year especially, when we were going down the avenue of, okay, cool, let's record all these new songs, and we sort of stopped playing our older songs as well and just sort of playing all fresh, all new stuff. For me personally, it was like, cool, like it was always that one thing to look forward to. Like, I'm lucky enough and feel extremely grateful to be in the position where I'm still working every day, and I live in a household where my wife's the same. We have a housemate who's also the same. We're working, and we're able to sort of, I guess, in that sense, kind of keep morale up a bit, because we're always leaving the house, if that makes sense, to go to work. And when we were like this, this time last year, it was that whole, oh, cool, well, we got these new songs, we're going to be able to rehearse, we've got this new look we want to do, we've got a video, and things did keep getting pushed back, which is demoralizing, which, everyone is understanding that now. And I know that, every lockdown that we've had has just been harder and harder, even though they haven't been as long as that, massive one this time last year. It's just like, fatiguing. It's like that COVID fatigue of, fuck, you know.
Here we go again, you know. Like,
yeah, that's it. And
Yeah, I woke up in a bad mood today because of it all, man. Like, the first thing I did when I woke up, I was like, fucking sick of this fucking bullshit. I just want to fucking kick everyone in the fucking gut. I was just fucking...
Everyone in Melbourne woke up the same way, dude. Don't feel alone.
Yeah, and that's the first morning I can say that I've woken up in this whole time where I've just been like, I'm ready to fucking put a hole in the fucking wall, you know what I mean? So,
no, for sure.
And, so what, when you were in high school, how serious were you taking guitar back then? Like, were you like...
Not very. Like, it was always that dream of like, it'd be sick to play in an awesome band and play some cool shows and all that. And that's what, we wanted to do. And I wanted to play music, but it wasn't really until like I got to the end of high school and, like most people, I had no idea what I wanted to do. Had no idea what I wanted to study. And I got to a point of, what can I do, study, but still not have to go out and get like a full-time job? And I was like, I'll go study music. That could work. That'd be really cool. And pretty much as soon as I started uni, that was pretty much the time I was like, this is what I want to do. Like, I want to do this as much as I possibly can and make the most of it, basically. That was kind of the time. And, life always gets in the way of a good time. And, me, like, personally, I studied. I went and studied music for 4 or 5 years or whatever it was. And then, I was playing in bands that we were pretty serious. We scored some awesome shows and some really cool tours. And like anything, we had like the best time. And all of a sudden, my life took a massive turn. And I started playing music a lot less because I also teach music. So I more or less at the time when I was through uni and was basically, I was teaching at a couple of music schools and playing shows. That was like the income. And I was like, yeah, this is the life kind of thing. And then I met my partner at the time and ended up, going, okay, cool, we want to move out. So I, had to go into a different path and go into a completely different line of work. Went into the corporate world for a good 4 or 5 years. So I was still played music and wrote music and, always wanted to get back into it. But
well, I guess maybe you just didn't have the time to be in an active band.
Well, that was the thing, and our drummer, Vinny, I've been playing and writing music with him for the last, I want to say 10 years ish, roughly.
Yeah. See, that's a different thing with how you came up into the music the way you are now with your new band and stuff like that compared to what it was for me, which was, I don't know if you remember how like successful Circumsystem got during our high school period. Like we got like really fucking big in Australia wise. Like I remember flying to Sydney to stay with a friend and it was when I got to Sydney airport from Melbourne, there was a bunch of girls there that came running up to me to get autographs, and I had no fucking idea what was going on. I was like, what the fuck is going on, man?
Living the dream, man.
I was already like playing shows with like The Getaway Plan, Parkway Drive, fucking The Amity Affliction. We were doing huge, and I was like, I'm out of here. I'm leaving school. I'm done. I'm fucking out because this is all I want to do with my life is I want to be in a fucking band. I want to do music, and I've fucking found it, and I'm taking it. We were talking MGM Records. I think it was Sebastian Chase, the CEO or something of MGM at the time. We were going to do Big Day Out. We were like, we were playing fucking. I know that's like not a big venue, but Croydon EVs, we were doing main stage and fucking the place was fucking packed. beats, man. Like, so what I found really hard was when that all came to an end, because it was successful for a long time, and then even that band after that, The Lesson of Her Death, was successful. Maybe not as successful as that, but still successful. And then Bess was as successful as probably The Lesson of Her Death was, you know what I mean? So it kind of always was pretty, full on, or just I kind of went into automatic mode with it, where it was like, this is just what we do, this is how it goes, you know? So when that ended, I was like, I struggled for years to find out what I exactly wanted to do. You know, I struggled with drug addictions really bad. No motivation. I actually was like, oh, I'm done with drums. I'm not doing drums anymore. I can't be fucked anymore. I don't want to do music anymore. I had kids. I got I was so bad on the ice, man, that I had my son taken away from me, and I had to go to mediation, and now that was the best thing that could have ever happened to me, because ever since then I've been clean, and
it's good to hear, man.
That's been he was 8 now, and I got clean when he was 3, so I pulled my finger out it took me still 3 years, man, to get the message, you know what I mean? But it took me ages to find out what I wanted to do, and I tried a bunch of different shit. Like, I did film school, and I still want to do filming in some sort of capacity, but for something to do with our band, because I realized that what was making my self-confidence go away, what was making me not as happy and stuff, was not being in the music scene or playing music. I just completely felt like I had fucked what I was meant to do with my life. You know what I mean? Like, that was what I was meant to do, and I wasn't doing it, and I'd fucked my chances of doing that by being high on ice and getting caught with a weapon at a venue and getting arrested and all this fucking bullshit, you know what I mean? And now that I've decided to come back to the band and we've gotten it going, because I've tried many times before this band to get one going and never committed, or I just stopped talking because I was still not mentally capable of keeping up with what I'm meant to do. So I found that when I got back in this band, I'm like, nah, this is what I've got to do, this is what I need to do, and this is I won't settle for less. And as I said to Codey recently, if the day I feel like I have to get a full-time job is the day that I am giving up trying. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to get a full-time job because I don't want to do that for my life. You know what I mean? I want to do music. And if I'm doing something else, I'm not really fulfilling my life the way I feel like it should be fulfilled. You know what I mean? Do you reckon that's how you feel about, your situation, where you feel like this is what you were meant to do?
Yeah. I mean, for sure. Playing music is definitely, excuse me. I think the thing as well is going back to what you said, something you said before about momentum. Once that momentum got going, and once the wheels were rolling, it was like, yeah, this is what I want to do and how I want to do it. And I think the biggest point for me personally was when we started writing new material, and there were a few things that came up in terms of just writing, and I guess just in terms of commitment level, in terms of we got to show up in Sydney, but a lot of these little things where it was these are the baby steps of testing your commitment level kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And once we crossed that threshold, and it was you know what? Yeah, I can do this. As hard as it's going to be sometimes, and as hard as it has been at times, it's this is definitely where I want to be and what I want to do. And saying that as well, there's things that I've started to do outside of playing music, just inside the music, where I'm just this is part of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So even teaching music, I've been teaching guitar and bass and a bit of drums and keyboards and all that sort of stuff for the last 15, 16 years. And then that's one thing that I still couldn't stop, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like that sharing the knowledge, I guess, whether it's doing like instrumental teaching, or whether it's, talking about, I guess the things that I've been a part of that have been, had some sort of mild success, or, just being able to share that, that's, I think as well that though that music is my number one, it's sort of evolved from being one thing to, there's other things in that industry that I still want to do and still be a part of, and that's like, God, that's what I want my job to be. If that's what my job's got to be, I don't want to be, back in the corporate world and all that sort of stuff.
I don't work in live sound anymore, but I've got a certificate 3 in live sound and services. Like, my uncle owns a hire company up in Rockhampton that hires out backline and stuff like that. My dad was the sound guy for the local theatre for 20 years in Gladstone. So I've got a little bit of a background in like live production and stuff like that. Like, I'm never going to stand behind the massive sound desk and control all the different layers and stuff like that. I'm not at that point yet, but it's really cool being able to sort of experience production from different perspectives. Like, it's good. Back when I used to play like Friday, Saturday night acoustic shows, knowing to turn your guitar down before you unplug the thing, because you don't want to piss off the sound guy and accidentally blow his speakers, you know what I mean?
I never gave a fuck about pissing off the sound guy, man. You know why?
Yeah, but the sound guy is
fucking
controlling what you do, so you want to be nice to them so they make you sound good.
I love sound guys. I love sound guys when they're good.
I can sympathise with that for sure. Like, we've been lucky enough that the shows that we've played, we've had a really good sound guy, and I think partly, I don't know, just in my experience, I think that just especially over time, just with better education and better experience, just for people and engineers, like through school, or it's just better. Like, there's just the foundation quality is a lot better. Like, we've had great experiences with the sound guys that we've had, and
that's what I was going to ask again as well. Is, are you going to get someone that does your sound permanently eventually, or are you not worrying about that because of like the extra expenses it'll be to tour, to take them with you wherever you go and do all that sort of thing? Like, how are you going to tackle that situation? Because my ideal situation would be to have someone that travels and knows the setup, like what he wants, what you want and what he wants from it. You know what I mean? That would be the ultimate way. But obviously, I know that that's something that comes in with bands that have money to spend on those sorts of things. So, like, what do you plan? How do you tackle that now, and how do you plan on hoping to tackle that in the future?
That's a good question. What we ideally would be, and what we're looking to do, is to find someone on at least a semi-permanent basis. That can be hard, because you do find that there's a lot of people out there that are pretty busy in terms of that. But ideally, that would be awesome to have someone that could travel with us and come to every show. Realistically, at the moment, we're sort of freelancing out to guys that we've either used before or that we've heard are good, but we've also used house guys. The house guys at Stay Gold are awesome, really good.
I've never played Stay Gold before.
Yeah, Stay Gold's awesome, absolutely awesome venue, great stage sound, great sound out in the crowd, and yeah, like they're just really good at what they do. So,
what's your favorite venue?
Favorite venue
to play?
Last Martyr, or that we've ever played. Oh, the Last Martyr have played. Stay Gold was awesome. We played the Oxford Arts Factory. That was our first show in Sydney. That was really cool as well. But yeah, I reckon Stay Gold's up there at the moment.
I really liked playing. I loved playing like local shows that were huge shows like TLC. I don't know if you remember TLC. Was fucking awesome, man. Like we played some of our best shows there. Fucking Croydon was really good. Like AV's Youth Centre was awesome all the time, and I really loved the Murrulbark Community Arts Centre as well, bro, because we played there 3 times probably over our career, and that was with the last one was with House versus Hurricane, and it was a free show, and this is when they were the thing, man. So there was like, I'd say it's a 600 person capacity, maybe 700 person capacity safely venue, and that was packed with about another 400 to 500 people trying to get in still out the front, including my mum, who was like, just let me in, my son's playing. And they were like, step back, lady, step the fuck back. So, yeah, but,
This video that I just found is of a show. I think the YouTube thing was 9 years ago. And back in central Queensland, the couple years that I was like going to the music scene and whatever, it was called Lurch. It was named after the dude from Addams Family, I think it is. And there was a couple guys there that were pretty big in the scene that would organize bands to come and stuff like that. But a few years later, they ended up moving to Brisbane. So the scene only lasted a couple of years. But this is at our local tennis club. So there's tennis courts outside, and this is where, like, yeah, they'd have presentations and stuff like that, and we were allowed to play shows there, which was sick. But we had to make sure we took the ceiling fan down, because one time someone took the ceiling fan and they
I can't believe they had a ceiling fan and you were expected to take it down. You, the performer. How about you get the fucking maintenance guy to take the ceiling fan down? You know what I mean? Like,
dude, back then, the small community we were in, the performers were the people putting on the show, you know? So, like, we had as much responsibility as performers to make sure we took care of the thing as people putting the thing on. Because if either of us fucked it up, we wouldn't be able to do what we wanted to do.
we got to play Bang as well twice as the Lesson of Her Death. We were like openers one shot, and then we did so well with numbers for our door list, and we had like 150 people there lining up for opening, like when we opened a band, which is pretty big. And they asked us back as headliners, and we did it as headliners too. And I thought it was always good playing that, except that fucking giant post in the fucking middle of the room that everyone's like crowded around like this, man, like fucking stuck around the post. But what are there still any alternative clubs going now, like that you know of, or what?
I think Bang's still doing its thing.
Bang's still banging on.
Not as not as often. I think it's sort of because it shut down. I remember it was like the last Bang ever, and a mate's band played that night. And it was ridiculous. Like it was massive all that night. I think it sort of came back on like we do one every quarter or one every 6 months. Like,
or are they doing that? Are they doing plastic still every now and then? I thought that was happening still recently, up until recent anyway. Every 4 or 5 months, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, well, honestly, with what's been happening the last sort of year and a bit, couple of years, I don't even know. I don't know what's around anymore.
Nah, man, I was just asking someone if Centerfold's open.
Yeah, fair.
But you know what's really crazy about our high school, man? Codey, we went to Fair Hills High School, and that's in the eastern suburbs in Melbourne. It's crazy how many people that came out of that school that were pretty successful with music, which was like Forgiven Rival, like Joel Thornton and all them. You, Matt Millard with City Escape. Us guys with Circumsystem and all that, you know what I mean? Like, we had like a fair few people like that went to the school at the same time as each other as well. It wasn't like separated by years or whatever, all at the same time, that kind of branched out and did actually pretty well for themselves musically. So it's pretty insane when you think about that.
Yeah, considering like that area was sort of, you know, just a few suburbs was sort of surrounding, but yeah, no, it's pretty. Actually, that is pretty crazy to think.